And we kick off this evening with a look at the cinema.
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
It's beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Cinema history come to life.
I found my solace in the small cinema I went to every Thursday night.
I'm a professor of cinema.
I go to the cinema for the stories.
There was no competition between the cinema and seminar.
I mean, it's not within the realm of conventional cinema.
And now,
here's Pace and Johnson
with a cinema review.
It is Monday, June 1st, 2026, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Cinemasters Reviews. I'm your host, Payson Johnson, and we have an exciting week we have an exciting show this week. We are going to be reviewing Backrooms, the new horror movie from A24, as well as The Breadwinner, the new family comedy starring Nate Bargatze. I say we jump right into the show, starting with our first review of the week, the biggest movie of the week by far, Backrooms. Backrooms, a horror film directed by Kane Parsons. He is the creator of the Backrooms YouTube series, and he got the ability to translate those the lore and the history of those YouTube videos into movie form with Backrooms. This film follows a man by the name of Clark, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, and he is the owner of a furniture store. And one day, while the building is closed, he finds that down below in the basement, one of the walls just seems to go into what seems to be the back rooms of the store, but what seems to be, in a way, another world. There are just a ton of rooms that sort of look like they are copies of the furniture store. At the same time, everything is just a little bit off, whether the doors are really small, whether the hallways go certain ways that they shouldn't, whether words are spelled backwards. So he becomes super obsessed with this, and he tries to tell his therapist, Mary, played by Renata Reinsev, but she doesn't believe him, so he ends up trying to take some of his workers, played by Finn Bennett and Lukita Maxwell, down into the back rooms in order to figure out what is actually going on beneath the store. Now, I've been hearing about this movie for a little while. I heard that there was this YouTuber by the name of Kane Parsons that created this series of videos. Apparently, there was a lot of history, a lot of lore that goes into this movie, and a lot of lore that was created by Kane while he made these YouTube videos. I didn't know about this. All I knew about this movie was when I saw the trailer, I said that is maybe one of the best trailers I think I've seen in a while. Where I just saw two actors I really liked with Renata Reinsev and Chiwetel Ejiofor, and I just wanted to say, okay, what is going on here? And I will say, I think it is crazy. By the way, I should have mentioned, not only is Kane Parsons a YouTuber, and this is his first film, he is 20 years old, which is crazy young for a filmmaker to be making a movie of this scale at this age. But I think it's really cool that A24 gave him the ability to. And while you can feel this is a first-time film, I think the fact that this was made by a 20-year-old with so much detail, so much lore, so many great moments, I think really needs to be celebrated. I was hearing a lot of really stupid rumors that people were trying to say of, oh, well, Kane Parsons didn't actually direct this movie and it was shadow directed by a producer. Watching this movie, you can very clearly tell it has that feeling of someone in Gen Z. It just has that youthful feel to it of just not going by the rules that you've seen in other films. One of my things I really loved about this movie was the fact that every time I thought I knew where the movie was going to be going, or where I thought I knew how a scene would play out, it never did. The movie kept subverting my expectations in the best way possible. It kept that mystery up, and it made for such a fun watch. Like I said, it offers an incredible amount of mystery as to what is going on. Why is there this weird world below this furniture store that never seems to end? Every time our characters go into the back rooms, you think okay, is there the end to this path that if you get there, just something's going to happen? No, they keep on going from room to room to room. There are moments where you see that there might be some sinister things down below in the back rooms that might be that might be an obstacle to our characters. Don't want to spoil that because I want everyone to go in as blind as possible. But I think the movie does a really good job of keeping the back rooms so mysterious. And it definitely feels like something that you would never find in our world, because you don't just find walls that you can just walk through. At the same time, everything just seems, it doesn't seem too far off from reality. There's a really good line in this movie where Clark's explaining what the Backrooms is, and he describes it as, it would be like if you described a dog to someone who had never seen a dog and then asked them to draw it. That would be like what the Backrooms is, where if you ask someone, hey, this is a furniture store, and they had no concept of what a furniture store is, this is what they would get. And it just feels so uncanny. It feels so creepy when you're down there. And Parsons ends up getting a lot of great moments from that, and a lot of really horrific scenes. Without spoiling anything, I think both Ejiofor's character and Reinstedt's character serve two very different purposes in the movie, but at the same time, they're sort of in the same like ballpark as to what's going on with their characters. But they both serve two very different like parts of the film. Where the second Clark finds this back room, we know that he's someone who wanted to be an architect but failed at being an architect. He has a lot of addictive personality traits. He has been self-destructive in the past, and this furniture store seems to be like the only real thing that he's able to stand on two legs with owning. We see certain points in the movie where you see him filming his like commercials with the store, and they seem very over the top. Every time you go into the interior of the store, no one is in the store. There are all these signs that say up to 75% off the entire store. So we clearly see that like he's not doing well. So when he goes in the back rooms, he thinks it's like this great mystery, and like I want to explore more and more. I want to see how far we can get. Even when certain things start going wrong, he's like, oh, but why are they going wrong? What is actually going on? While Mary is someone who through certain flashbacks we know has dealt with some certain traumatic things in her past. And she is coming at it from a therapy point of view of she's trying to rationalize what Clark is saying. She doesn't outright believe him because it seems so weird, but she is just as confused as the audience is, and she really serves as the audience's point of view through this film. I'm still trying to process the backstory scenes we get with Mary and seeing where she came from, everything that has to do with her house, trying to figure out how that really connects with the film. Honestly, like my main negative takeaway with Backrooms is it's such a dense film, and it doesn't give you the answers in any major way. By the way, I'm dog sitting for my parents, in case you see some of our friends over there. Hey, Emmett. Hey. Say hi to the audience. He's a good boy. Yeah, but like I said, while the movie never really gives you any answers as to what's really going on, I do feel like Kane Parsons is someone that he has the answers, and he is giving us clues. So I do think this is going to be a movie that is going to reward rewatches in the future, even though it might be a little aggravating that you don't get everything on that first watch. But yeah, even with this film seeming so like unconventional, it still builds up in a way that ends in a very thrilling climax. We start to see more and more of what's going on in the backrooms. We start to see more grotesque stuff. We eventually start to see what is the backrooms version of a human, and without spoiling that, it is just as creepy as the entire setting of the film. It ends in a really thrilling, like almost monster movie-esque chase where one of our characters is like running for their lives because they know if they get caught that it's gonna be it. They truly feel like they are trapped down here, but they're just finding any semblance of an exit. And I think Parsons just does such a great job of just capturing that tension in such a bottleneck way. The ending is one where I was really scared, because when we got to the ending, I was afraid that we were just going to get this giant explanation as to what was actually going on and why does this setting exist, what is its purpose. And I'm so happy that the movie doesn't feel the need to do that. It had faith in its audience to say like, hey, this was a mystery film, this is a puzzle box film, I'm not going to solve it. And you can either take it or leave that. And I really, really enjoyed that Parsons made such a bold move saying, I'm not going to explain everything at the end of this film, and you have to sit with what really was going on. And I think that just creates such a unique experience of now I'm just asking my questions. I saw this movie 2 days ago, and I hadn't been able to stop thinking about, like, okay, what was he really getting at with this film? What really was going on in the back room? And I just think it's so much fun. The number one thing I do just want to praise about this movie, I haven't even brought up the production of the Backrooms itself. Such creative designs. The just the pure, like, bland yellow backdrops of the walls and the floors already gives it such a unique look. But like whenever you see characters find like a pile of chairs or this like 50s Norman Rockwell-esque house, just so many different things that just make it seem so uncomfortable, so claustrophobic. There are many scenes where you are watching Clark down in the back rooms, like filming it in first person with his camera. And all those scenes are really, really well done. First-person camera stuff is something that can often be very easy to mess up because it just seems like really just sort of like artificial. It's really well done here, and I think it's only because it's only used for like maybe a third of the film, and when it's used, it's very effective. And those are probably the scariest scenes because a lot of those scenes are through shaky cam, and there'll be parts where the character just puts the camera down, and you're immediately like tense, like, oh, why are we not moving? Why are we not moving? Why can't I look over here to see what's going on? And it's really, really well done. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm going to go pretty high, and I'm going to be giving an 8.5 out of 10. I think this was a great film. Kane Parsons clearly has a lot of confidence as a young filmmaker. It helps when you have actors as good as Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renata Reinseth delivering this material, and just the design of the Backrooms, the mystery, the story, the lore, I think is really, really well done. I don't talk a ton about box office on the show. This is not really a box office show. I am here to review the movies, but it made me so happy seeing how successful this movie was and how just popular it was with young moviegoers, because I love seeing people going out to see movies in the theater the way they are meant to be seen, and seeing how many people were interested in this movie really really made me happy. I would highly recommend you go see it in the theater. I think it would reward a cinematic experience. And yeah, Backrooms, really excited to see what Kane Parsons has in store in the future. I am excited to revisit this film. But I say we jump right into our second review of the week, that being The Breadwinner, directed by, I believe his name is Eric Opel. I accidentally forgot to Eric Opel, starring Nate Bargatze. You might recognize him as being a very popular stand-up comedian right now. I believe he's like selling out like stadiums right now with just how popular stand-up is. Nate is a popular car salesman, the father to 3 daughters, and him and his wife have a very normal family life where he is the one that is working and she is the one that stays at home and takes care of the kids. She ends up one day when they are at family dinner with some friends, she ends up revealing this idea that she has called a star planner, where it is in the shape of a star, and each little like side of the star has like things for you to plan out your day. Someone says, hey, you should go and pitch this idea on Shark Tank. She ends up going to pitch it. One of the sharks buys it, but says, hey, if you are going to be doing this idea, I want to see how committed you are to this, committed you are to your career. So why don't you come with me to South Korea so we can get the production of this off the ground, and your husband will stay home and take care of the kids. And as you might expect from that premise, hijinks ensue because Nate eventually realizes that he doesn't really have the skills or just the knowledge in general to parent the kids the way his wife did, played by Mandy Moore, by the way. Really fun to see her in a movie like this. This is about as like typical run-of-the-mill concept as you can get for a comedy. I think we've seen in so many movies just the concept of, oh, a family's life is sort of upended, and the one parent that was not used to being in the kid's life all the time and getting all the nitty-gritty details of his family's life now has to learn and be there for his kids when it is essentially like new homework for him, and just hijinks ensue. This movie doesn't add anything really new to that formula. It is I actually didn't know this. It is like very much a family film. It's not like a PG-13 or R-rated comedy. It's very much targeted for an entire family. So like it's not very like edgy in its humor in any way, but it's not trying to be. So that's not really a fault. But yeah, there's nothing really that unique about this premise. But at the same time, we don't really get studio family films like this anymore. So I think the fact that like it exists at all seems a little bit like just sort of fresh in a way, which is kind of fun, even if it isn't, even if it isn't pushing the envelope at all in terms of creativity or even quality in general. It did have a few bits that made me chuckle. I think all of the three actors who play as kids are doing a pretty good job. Each of the kids have unique issues at school they're dealing with. His oldest daughter is like just starting high school, and she has this big crush on this guy, and she wants to get her attention. So her dad is like not too keen on that idea, but not like annoying to the point that we've seen certain parents in other movies. His middle child is someone who's like really obsessed with like spelling bees and spelling in general, and she is just super hyper competitive in this one aspect, and she just wants to do super well. And his youngest daughter is probably causing the most issue at school, where she is having an issue where she just wants to hug all of her friends. And Nate just says like, okay, why can't we just tell her not to hug? And it's like, well, if you tell her not to hug, that might be reinforcing a bad behavior, and she might do it more. Just fun little bits. Kid actors aren't annoying by any means, so that is a plus. I will say the weakest actor in this film is Nate Bargatze. Nate Bargatze is someone who I've enjoyed his stand-up in the past. My gosh, I've been wondering why he hasn't really gotten a movie deal, or why he hasn't like shown up in any bit parts in any comedies. This movie kind of answers that. He is not a good actor. In fact, he is a pretty terrible actor. He does all of his scenes as if he is doing a stand-up bit where he does it in like this like deadpan, like dead-eyed way, and it just comes off making every scene just feel kind of awkward when it really shouldn't. He feels lifeless whenever he's delivering all of his lines of dialogue. It genuinely feels like when I was watching him, I don't want to be mean to him, but he's the main character of this movie. It feels like I was watching a deer in headlights, and just like he is reading his dialogue as if he's reading it for the first time. He doesn't really feel like he's playing a character, which from what I've gathered, most of this movie just comes from different like life experiences he's had that he's translated into stand-up bits that he's now just taking to put into this movie form. And the movie just feels really just artificial, and he does not do a good job at selling this. Like this always seemed to be like a major like stepping stone for comedians, where you become a super popular stand-up comedian, and then you get a movie deal where you're the main character in the movie and you blow up more as a comedian. There might have been a reason why it's been this long. It's taken this long for him to be in a movie, because he's just not that great of an actor. The person I think really impressed me was he befriends another stay-at-home dad by the name of Connor Ashford, played by Colin Jost. You might know Colin Jost being one of the hosts of Weekend Update on SNL. He is a blast in this movie. The movie knows that Colin Jost just has the face of someone that is like just like an ideal punching bag, and he just seems really like uptight with the fact that like Nate is just now becoming a stay-at-home dad and is trying to is trying to get the attention that he's always gotten. We see that that Connor has become friends with all the moms on Taco Day, where he shows up dressed as a cowboy. Really nerdy stuff. And Colin Jost is someone that is always like keen with the idea of making fun of himself, and he does that in a perfect way here. I've been wanting a movie to come around that gives Jost this ability to have this like really fun side character. Wasn't as unlikable as I was expecting, but still is like the butt of all the jokes, and Jost is doing a really great job, and was probably the number one standout aspect of this film. Honestly, the best parts of the movie is probably the end credits, where we do see moments of Nate Bargatze's stand-up, and we see like the things he's joked about that were turned into moments in the movie. But if that's the best part of your movie, all I'm going to be thinking is, well, why am I not just watching a stand-up special? And why am I watching this boring family comedy? Which, unfortunately, it is. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm going to give it a negative 5.5 out of 10. I think this is a pretty mediocre film. I understand that these movies are not entering the market as much as they did in the past. Families are often trying to find movies to take their whole families to. This one isn't really special. I don't think you have any reason to go see this in theaters. If Nate Bargatze has a future in movies, he's got to become a better actor, because leading a movie is not going to be his strong suit as an actor. But thank you all for watching. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the video store. It helps grow our channel a lot. Next week, I'm going to be reviewing Masters of the Universe, the new adaptation of He-Man and the Master of the Universe, the cartoon from the 80s, as well as Power Ballad, the newest film from John Carney. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, watch more movies.
And the award for most vapid film review of the century goes to...
Okay, movie review. Okay, I thought it was beauty.
And he's now in cinema hell, where one day we'll all be reunited.
This is me at the Regal Cinema crying as I did through much of the film.